Move it, Grandma. The teenager's voice cut through the checkout line like static, loud enough for others to hear, but sharp enough to sting. A woman in her 50s, grey hair tucked behind her ears, leaned gently on a worn metal cane, her other hand gripping a small basket of groceries. Just bread, milk, and canned soup. Her coat was zipped to her chin, her posture slightly hunched, and her expression unreadable. She didn't turn around, she didn't reply, but the corner of her mouth tensed slightly, like she'd heard insults before and had learned how to file them away. Behind her, two younger customers snickered. "Takes her an hour to shuffle 3 feet," one of them said under his breath, loud enough to draw a smirk from the cashier. Another rolled his eyes dramatically and sighed, probably faking half of it to skip the line. No one stopped them. No one stepped in. The store hummed with fluorescent lights and cold apathy. She reached the counter and started to count her change. Small coins, carefully separated into a tiny coin purse. Her fingers trembled as she tried to grab each dime, each nickel. The boy behind her groaned in mock frustration. "This is painful." Another mumbled, "I bet she just wants attention." People like her always do. Then a soft clatter hit the tile. Her quarters slipped from her palm and spilled onto the floor. That's when the laughter turned cruel. The teenager behind her exaggerated a sigh and muttered, "Come on, lady. It's not a war zone." The others chuckled, smug, watching her lower herself slowly, painfully, as she reached for the coins. They didn't see the tightness in her jaw. They didn't see her eyes close for half a second. Not from weakness, but restraint. Then she stopped. She straightened slowly and carefully placed the cane against the counter. Her hand moved to the zipper of her jacket, and she pulled it down halfway. Her fingers were scarred, her wrist slightly stiff, but her movement was deliberate. As the coat fell open, the light caught it first. A bronze star pinned just above her heart. Below it, a small line of service ribbons sat perfectly arranged against a worn army t-shirt. The store fell silent. No one spoke. The laughter died in a heartbeat. She stood straighter than she had moments ago, taller, firmer, as if years of combat training had just risen from under her skin. Her voice, when it came, was calm and razor-sharp. "I earned this in 2006, Ramadi, when our convoy was hit and I was the only medic left standing." Her eyes scanned the group behind her, and they finally looked like the children they were. "I carried 4 men out of a burning vehicle. One died on the way, the others lived. One of them was 19, just like you." The boy who'd mocked her first stared at the ground. His friend stood frozen, mouth slightly open. Even the cashier had stopped moving, holding a bag of groceries halfway into the air. She continued, still quiet, but stronger with every word. "I took shrapnel to the spine and the leg. I still have some of it in me. That's why I walk with a cane. Not because I'm old, because I've seen more than you ever will." Someone near the end of the line clapped, then another and another. Not loud, just a steady, rising rhythm of realization. The manager peeked from behind the customer service desk, staring at her like she was a ghost from a story they forgot to honor. She zipped her jacket again, slowly, and picked up her cane. "Respect doesn't come from your voice," she said. "It comes from your actions. And your silence when you've said enough." As she walked out, someone rushed to pay for her groceries. The boy followed her to the doors, guilt swallowing every word he couldn't figure out how to say. "Mom," he called softly, "I didn't know." She stopped, looked back over her shoulder, not with anger, just truth. That's the problem. No one ever asks. They just assume. She didn't wait for his apology. She didn't need it. She stepped out into the cold air, cane tapping softly on the sidewalk, spine straight despite the pain. The store behind her stood quiet. A lesson left hanging in the air like a flag that had just been raised for the first time. Because that day wasn't about groceries. It wasn't about spilled change. It was about what we choose to see, and what we ignore until it demands to be known. That bronze star wasn't her pride. It was her silence. It was every scar she didn't show, every night she didn't sleep, every moment she chose to live despite what she carried. And when she revealed it, not to boast but to remind, she did what medals can't do alone. She made them remember. Before we wrap up the story, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? We'd love to hear. Respect isn't based on how fast you move. It's about what you moved through to stand where you are. If you're still thinking about this, you're not alone. Like, comment, and stay with us.